NASA is running out of time to perform the experiments put on hold since the shuttle was launched. More from John Zarella.
The problem with two data recorders began almost as soon as the shuttle Discovery got into orbit last Sunday.
They have some cryo concerns and tape recorder concerns. That's why we're asking the logs for you.
Repeated attempts to fix the recorders, which are supposed to document the results of 3 experiments, have failed. Now, NASA has come up with a plan that turns the astronauts into electricians.
If it works, we'll either get 100% of what the recorders would have been getting, or we'll get nothing. It's either going to work or not work.
The astronauts will attempt to bypass the troublesome recorders by splicing a wire and running a cable directly to their KU-band antenna. The data will then be transmitted directly to the ground and recorded.
Carefully, the cable we're breaking into is a signal-carrying cable. It's not a power cable. Our folks have looked at it very carefully. And we're going to power down the equipment on both ends just to make sure there aren't any stray voltages or ground loops or anything set up. So we don't see a hazard there at all.
The astronauts didn't seem too concerned about the task ahead of them as they joked and exchanged kudos with Mission Control.
At the window, it seems like all these good shots out the window when the weather's clear and the really nice things we want to take pictures of come at exactly the time when we're very busy with the payload. I don't know how they worked that out. It must be FAO's diabolical plot, right?
If they pull off Saturday's repair, there will be plenty to celebrate. So far, the Star Wars mission has provided investigators with so much material, it will take years to evaluate. Attached to the shuttle's remote arm, the SPAS-2 satellite continued gathering critical data needed to eventually build a global missile defense system. Friday evening, the final release of rocket propellant from a canister floating in space was monitored. With that accomplished, the shuttle crew is an impressive 17 of 17, completing all the primary experiments on their schedule. John Zarella, CNN, reporting.
An astronaut on the last space shuttle mission, Jay Apt, wore a hole in his spacesuit glove during a 6-hour spacewalk April 8th. That discovery wasn't made until the shuttle Atlantis returned to Earth and his spacesuit was inspected. The hole, about the size of a paperclip, was made by a metal adjustment device inside the glove. NASA officials say Apt wasn't endangered because nothing leaked around the hole. Hundreds of people have been evacuated from within a half-mile of a burning storage complex in Madison.
Rewiring job using a Swiss Army knife and some tape. The crew spent 2.5 hours cutting cables to bypass broken data recorders. This week's space mission has not been without its problems, but the frustration for the astronauts has been nothing compared to the troubles their bosses have been having back on Earth. That is our Washington notebook. Space. Is there anyone out there that wants to go there anymore?
We're getting less than we were promised. Space Station Freedom is not, nor was it ever intended to be, the orbital version of the Waldorf Astoria.
These days, even supporters of NASA are admitting that the space agency is entering a new era of lowered expectations. As Capitol Hill grappled this week with approving NASA's $14.9 billion budget for next year, the highly touted space station was drawing the most heat. NASA was telling Congress the station would cost $30 billion, but congressional auditors were saying it is more like $180 billion. And some on the panel were fed up.
The $30 billion NASA estimate will get us a garage in space with nothing in it and nothing happening around it.
About the best NASA's beleaguered director could come up with was that the program has been overanalyzed, that Congress should either kill it or give it the go-ahead.
Let's give this program to the engineers and let them go build it as efficiently as hopefully we built this last space shuttle.
In fact, the entire space program is getting harder and harder to sell. NASA's high-visibility programs have developed costly problems. Shuttle missions are running into everything from fuel leaks to computer trouble. Design flaws in the Hubble telescope left it unable to focus clearly on distant stars. Last month, antenna on the Galileo spacecraft failed to open, and hope is fading that NASA will be able to salvage pictures of the billion-dollar mission to Jupiter. NASA has been counting on the talk of sending astronauts to Mars as one way to re-excite the public about space. Until, that is, the General Accounting Office started making cost estimates.
What?
Get back here!
No! Stay away from me!
I've been able to see and review and everything like it. Might be as much as $500 billion.
We simply do not have the luxury of supporting programs that lack effective cost controls, contractors who support shoddy work, or spokespersons who consistently provide the Congress with unrealistically low-cost estimates.
By week's end, the House had finally approved seed money for the manned space station, but only after a freshman congressman tacked on restrictions requiring a study of alternatives. That means the issue is far from settled.
The taxpayers won't be easy on us if we spend upwards of $30 billion of their hard-earned money on a project without even asking what our options are.
And what all this really underlines is the real problem facing NASA these days. With interest on the national debt gobbling up so much of what the government collects in taxes, there is less to spend on almost everything. So what you hear more and more in Congress is this: with so many problems that require attention here, why spend what little there is out there?
Losing their URA's X-ray images of celestial bodies forever. But this morning, 3 days of planning by ground engineers was put to the test. Astronauts spliced new wires into those connected to the URA. Using a television cable to carry data from the top deck to the bottom deck of the shuttle, the information was patched into a satellite transmitter and sent to the White Sands tracking facility near Las Cruces. The fix worked, and recorders at White Sands are now taping the data successfully.
Just really impressed and ecstatic. You know, it was the biggest repair they ever done in orbit. URA experiment itself is working better than we thought it would work, and so we are even more effective at collecting data.
The shuttle crew will continue to concentrate on the Los Alamos experiment through the night. Some of their images are being duplicated simultaneously by the VLA telescope near Socorro for comparison later. Bob Martin with the news in Albuquerque.
If all goes as planned,
The chairman of the Chrysler Corporation, Lee Iacocca, has decided he does not want to be a senator. He will not accept an appointment to fill a vacant Senate seat from the state of Pennsylvania. That was the seat left vacant by the death of Senator John Hines in a plane crash last month. Iacocca says he will not go to the Senate. He wants what he calls